What's up guys, it's finally here, the off season. Fuck dieting. It's time to, basically this series is going to be just a little documentation of the push-up over the next, I don't know, at the minimum, before I even think about doing a small diet again, will be about 10 to 12 months. And hopefully, plan to put on some really good mass there. In this video I'm just going to basically talk about the goals for that kind of 10 months in regards to training, how much muscle I want to put on, rate of weight gain, that kind of stuff. But the first thing I'm going to do is literally take you straight into upper A of my new workout split, which is upper lower rest, and there's two different workout variations for each upper and lower, so I'm going to take you through that right now. So into the first exercise of the upper A rotation has to be the barbell bench press. Would be an insult to bros everywhere if this wasn't the first exercise that I wrote down on the paper when designing my new training program. At the end of the off season, I was doing, the end of the prep, I did like 90 for 7 touch and go with horrible form, but taking a massive step back and working on a 3-second eccentric, a pause, a 2-second concentric, and a squeeze on each rep. Aiming for failure between 10 to 15 and then 6 to 9. Really taking a step back because my body's fairly responsive to all training now, calories are back in. So I've really got the time to build it back up, and when I'm back at the weights I was on before with this form, my chest will be hopefully a lot bigger and the stimulus a lot greater. So the second compound exercise is for the back. It's literally just a dead hang body weight pull up. Just going to build this up to the point where I can get, 2 to 3 sets of like 15 to 20 reps with good form before I start adding a weighted belt. Just doing this to really work on, again, the form. I was doing weighted pull-ups towards the end, but there was more bounce. And I'm at the point where it's the perfect time really just to take a step back and assess all the exercises, make sure that I'm getting the most contraction possible out of all of them. Then we're on to the first shoulder compound, which is the dumbbell shoulder press. Same goes, really taking a step back, lighter weight, 2 sets of 10 to 15, just focusing on getting to failure within those rep ranges. So when I hit failure with the weight that I'm using at the moment, anything over 15 reps is when I will assess looking at a new weight, but just focusing on getting volume in basically. So the exercise for the incline plane of the chest is the incline barbell Smith machine press, as you can see really. I get 1 set of 10 to 15, 1 set of 6 to 9, obviously increasing the weight to the second set. Again, really focusing on that slow controlled eccentric, not exactly on that rep, but and then it's more about the squeeze and the failure, making sure I'm getting everything I can out of each rep in those rep ranges, and when the time comes that failure happens to be 1 rep above, so either like 16 or 10 reps on the second set, then I will progress the weight. Really not forcing the progression, just letting it come, but obviously going for it. Same with the dumbbell row, just the first time ever doing this exercise. You're watching in this clip, so the form is a little bit janky, but really good contraction. As you can see, the lats are getting a really nice stretch there. Actually surprised that I managed to get to a good point of muscle failure. Obviously it's just a row, so it's similar to a lot of other exercises, but something I'm excited to build up, because you notice people who do this exercise consistently and controlled with a high weight, they have big lats. Not really a surprise correlation, but something that I was looking for a row exercise and just thought it'd be good to add in. This exercise now is a single seated single arm shoulder press. I've actually switched to a different machine now because I'm a few cycles into this program, just because it's a much better fit for me. But essentially just with my shoulders, my left is ever so slightly smaller than my right, even though they're both tiny, so it's good to get a single arm exercise in just to match the volumes. So if you're doing that, always start with the weaker arm and then just match the volume with the right arm, or whichever happens to be your weaker arm. Next we have the hammer strength dip machine. This is the first of my isolation arm exercises. Absolutely in love with this machine. The contraction is absolutely insane. I find it even like more superior to my body biomechanics than an actual dip. I get no shoulder pain. I can get a much more solid contraction. I feel like the resistance curve's a lot more balanced, like I'm pushing and there's a constant tension on my triceps throughout the whole range of motion, whereas with a bodyweight dip, sort of freeing hanging, I tend to lose a little bit of tension at the bottom and the top. But here, just a solid squeeze and just constant agony the whole way through the exercise. You can see there, you go to a dark place on this machine. If you have one in your gym, I highly recommend taking it for a spin, especially if you have lagging triceps like me. The first isolation exercise for the biceps is the dumbbell preacher curl, using like the Nautilus seat. Not that it really makes much difference, but absolutely fantastic contraction on this. Really going the full range of motion using a lighter weight. Absolutely fantastic. Less of a stringent exercise on the biceps than the barbell bicep curl, which is the main bicep exercise in upper B. Switching between doing a heavy tricep exercise on this workout and a heavy bicep exercise on the next workout. So next up we have the rod fly machine. Saw people using this when I was cutting and thought, it looks a little bit useless, not really going to bother with that, but needed a new fly because I'm already using the good fly machine at the gym on my other rotation for the fly movement, so I thought I'd give this a go. Hits more of the lower chest, and can I be the first to say it's absolutely fantastic, honestly. The stretch isn't that great on the upper, sort of from about there to the top, isn't that amazing, so you really have to use mind muscle connection. But at the bottom, the squeeze is absolutely fantastic. You can see, really holding it at the bottom, you can feel it across the whole chest. This is just sort of a bit of a volume exercise at the end, just to get additional CNS taxing chest volume in. Fantastic if you've got one at the gym, give it a try. Probably not as good as my other fly, but really enjoy it nonetheless. So following that, we have a single set of lat pullovers, only the one set because I have deadlifts the next day, and I find that this really gives me some DOMs in my middle trapezius, which then hitting them a little bit sore on deadlift after isn't a good idea, but it's still a good exercise, and I keep it in because I feel like it really gives a good sort of complete shape to this back workout, as like using the back in the plane that I haven't used it as before, but just a single set so as not to affect recovery too much. So then for my isolation for the lateral head of the shoulder, we have the bread and butter, just a double arm dumbbell lateral raise, lightweight 20 to 30, just trying to get good blood flow, get a good set to 2 sets to failure within a higher rep range. This exercise has been more of a shoulder pushing, and then the next workout, which starts with a barbell overhead press, has only 2 sets of shoulder pushes and 4 sets of lateral raises in 2 different forms, just to spread out the workload on the shoulders over the 2 workouts. Or brachialis activation on this one for more of a complete bicep workout, and then afterwards we have the tricep rope push down, just to hit more of the outer head, just to give a bit more of that Christian Guzman croissant, and just to get enough volume in to stimulate the tricep growth, because I feel like the dips on their own wouldn't quite be enough to do that. So that was the complete run through of session upper A. It looks like a lot, but when you take into account that I'm only doing 2 sets of most exercises and just a 3-minute rest between the 2 sets, and then jumping pretty much straight onto the next exercise, fully warmed up, maybe one just feel a set and then straight in. It doesn't really take much time. It's about 1 hour 45 to a 2-hour workout, but I love being in the gym, so I'm quite happy to spend a bit more time going through that. So that was the upper A training video that I just showed you. The rest of the video is literally me just going to be discussing where I'm at right now and some like future plans and goals, and a little bit about my training and the current setup. So if you're interested in that, stick around and I'll get into it now. Right, so you're still here, that's good. So where I'm at right now is 15 days into the off season, post show, starting straight away the day after. My average weight, according to the Happy Scale app, is now 69.7 kilograms. That's up from 67.2 on show day. But obviously there was that initial leap of 1.2 kilos, just like post show weight gain, glycogen storage and everything. So it's been good because the rate of gain is currently around 0.45, again according to the Happy Scale app, because it's got like this like smoothing algorithm that gives you sort of an accurate rate of gain, which is a really useful tool. If you don't use the app and you do track your weigh-ins, then it's brilliant because it shows you a perfect graph with like a really good smoothing algorithm that just sort of takes the worry off, or a higher weigh-in today, low weigh-in. It's got a really good average weight and rate of gain. So it's 0.45, which is about a pound a week, which is on the high end. I do want to bring that down to about 0.2 to 0.35 kilos a week, just because at the moment I don't really need to give my body much food to grow, to be honest. I'm coming into a point where calories are now back up between around 3,000 and 3,500 a day, from a point where they're on about 2,000-ish calories at the end of prep. So just by that alone and the training coming back, so all the numbers are shooting up on the start of this new training cycle, there's no point in pushing body weight high when the most, I think I've seen studies, the most someone could possibly gain, so that's probably where I am now, just coming out of a deficit and introducing calories, so quite an anabolic state, is 0.5 pounds of muscle. I don't think I'm probably quite there, because I'd say like an intermediate kind of trainer, but so probably about 0.25 to 0.35 pounds of muscle is what I can look to get a week. So there's no point in putting a whole pound on, because then obviously there's going to be water and glycogen in that excess weight, but some of it's going to be fat. And there's not really much point because I feel great, I feel fully recovered, my hormones and everything feel back online from the end of prep. So yeah, no real point in pushing it. I'm quite enjoying being nice and lean. It's nice going to the beach and just taking off the shirt and actually looking good. There's no point adding 10 pounds in 10 weeks and just sort of looking a bit fluffy by the end of summer, when I can probably progress the numbers at 70% of the rate and just keep a little bit leaner, and also means I can bulk for longer. I think this is the real takeaway that I've taken from previous off seasons, where I've either realised, my weight's not going up at all for like 1 or 2 months because I haven't really been looking at the weight, and then I'll push it up really fast, and that just means I haven't really gained much muscle, and then I gain a bit of muscle, but also quite a lot of fat, so I don't really gain. I just need to gain slowly and consistently for a long period of time, which is something I haven't done before. So I'm very excited to see my physique hopefully come to this next new level of, instead of just cutting all the time, to actually put on some mass and just sort of actually look like I go to the gym in a t-shirt, which will be nice. So that rate of gain takes me to anywhere between about 77 to 80 kilograms, depending on various life factors. Some weeks are going to be more, some are going to be less, but around that kind of ballpark by Christmas. So hopefully I should look quite tight then. So then at Christmas time, New Year, I will then assess whether it's time to do a small pullback that will literally just be 4 weeks, take off a couple of kilos of just water weight, glycogen, reset, and then go again. Because the end goal is to compete again in 2 years in bodybuilding rather than men's physique. Again with the UK DFBA, I will not be pinning any trenbolone into my ass for quite a while. So the plan's to do that. So I probably want to compete as a junior and a middleweight, which means stage weight needs to be anywhere from 70 to 80 kilos. My stage weight, probably because my waking weight was about 67.2, but after a meal or two, it was probably around 69 or something. So I'm on the lower end. So if I want to be on the higher end of middleweight, anywhere from like 76.5 upwards, there needs to be about 7 or 8 kilos of muscle gain in this 2 years, which I think is quite realistic, but it does mean that I have to stay in like a slow, long, consistent surplus and push body weight possibly up to the point of around 90 kilos, 200 pounds, but I have to get there slowly. I can't just do what I've done before. Anyone who knows me in like sixth form college and that when I was about 17, 18, had no idea about training or nutrition, just ate and ate and ate. I was literally walking out of Halo Gym, so I was pushing like tiny weights in the shitty gym, going out and eating like a Rocky Road Malteser bar just to get calories in, and scale weight was going up every day, and I just got to 93 kilos and fat. And like, this is why, I don't know, I'd say for the amount of time I've been training, I'm really not happy with where my physique's at. But then I take sort of an introspective look back at it, and I think I've either been cutting the whole time, which I do very well. Me and my mate Aaron now, for most of our gym careers, we've just been cutting, and we've got pretty fucking good at it, to be honest. We can get lean at the drop of a hat, but we just need to take some time off, get a little bit fluffy over the course of 1 or 2 years, and actually put on some size, because our training intensity is definitely there. It's just time. Time in a surplus is the one thing that I've been missing, and I'm really looking forward to now, because like doing a show, it focuses you. You get used to it. For 5 months. I was, doing my weigh-ins like every day, tracking calories down to a T, and like that doesn't just go away. That like transferred. That's like an ingrained kind of habit now. Like obviously I'm not as like anal about it. I just kind of, you can be a lot looser in the off season. You just have to look at a general sort of week to week weight gain, make sure numbers are going up in the gym, make sure conditions staying good, try and get in like 4 to 5 meals a day, which to someone who doesn't lift, that sounds like mentally obsessive, but nah, that's pretty simple, to be honest. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. In terms of training, I'm running a 12-week block, an upper lower rest split, just focusing on getting the compound lifts a lot higher, form good, and the numbers up in the sort of 7 to 12 rep range. I am doing lower rep work as like a back offset, so almost like a pyramid style training, but the main lifts that I'm looking at to progress are in that 7 to 12 rep range. Starting off with bench at the moment, it's on, as you saw in that clip, it's like really slow and controlled, in doing about 70 to 74 kilos for about 9 to 12 reps, nice and slow and controlled. So that's going to shoot up as well. I find with my pushing, when I'm in a surplus, it goes up really fast, and then when I'm in a cut, it just comes straight down. So as chest leverages increase as well, that's going to go up. So very excited to progress that. Goal by Christmas is to, because I'm going onto a strength block, I want to be getting 100 for anywhere more than 7 reps, because that's the most I've ever got it for at the end of the last bulking phase. Last time I did 100 for 6, so I want anything for 7 or more, touch and go, which will be absolutely fantastic. Deadlift, currently on 116 for 11. That's shooting up with like 2 kilos a session, just because I didn't do it all a prep because the systemic fatigue is so high. But I hope to literally in 2 weeks to be doing 120 for 11, and in Christmas getting at the end of the strength block 180 for 5, maybe even more quite easily. It's very hard to set goals for these things because you don't know how well they're going to progress, because deadlift has always been, it's something that I'm naturally quite good at. Even when I wasn't even training or eating properly, I was pulling 170, 180 as just a fat bastard in my first year at Loughborough Uni, with cat like form, but yeah, naturally like strong in that lift. And as I'm bringing the size of my legs up in this training block, I hope that it's going to do even more bits. Looking to see some good numbers. OHP is like 48 for like 12 or something at the moment, but that's with like a pause at the bottom and controlled form again. Squat, it's about 100 for 10, I'd say is the most I could do. Again, on the lower side, all of these numbers are going to shoot up. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much all of the main ones. So in this block, I'm doing 15 to 18 sets per total body part per week to failure, a frequency of 3 times a week. So that's like 5 to 6 sets per workout every 3rd day, which just, I'm finding recover from that really well, and that's enough workload for each session for me to feel like I'm providing enough of a stimulus and then recover from that. So gonna stick with that, and then if progression halts, I'll know that because it's like a lower volume range that I'm on, and if fatigue's low but I'm not progressing, then I'll know to increase volume on a couple of the lifts just to restart that. And if the lifts start to stall from just getting to a heavy weight kind of thing, I'll then start to periodize them. But for this 12-week block, I should be able to just week to week, if not 2 weeks to 2 weeks, progress most of these lifts within these rep ranges, just for the sake that I am growing, regaining lost muscle from the cut and all of that kind of good stuff. So there's not really much special stuff. It's just kind of doing the compound lifts at higher reps and letting the muscle come on for 12 weeks. Bringing legs up, as I said before, is the main focus of this, because competed in physique before, have tiny little pins. So making the move into bodybuilding, obviously half of my physique is not there right now. It's debatable if the top half even is. But yeah, so that's basically it. Obviously now, same rules apply. I'm training upper lower rest, so I'm training legs 3 times a week, 6 sets for both quads and hamstrings per session, squatting and deadlifting 2 to 3 times a week. And they're progressing really nicely as well. And honestly, it sounds stupid, but 2 weeks into the off season, I'm already seeing like visual improvements in my legs and in the logbook. So very happy with that indeed. So yeah, that pretty much brings the first episode to a close. The format of these videos from now on is I'm going to be taking you through subsequently the rest of the training sessions in my cycle. So we've got a upper B coming, and then a lower A and a lower B. So that's 3 more episodes worth of training footage there, and each week I will sort of go over some of the big lifts and PRs that I've had from that session, and sort of tell you my rate of gain, how things are going, any injuries. So more of just like an update series. The If It Fits Your Macro series is going to be more sort of just jokey around kind of vloggy stuff. But I want to keep a series like I was doing with the prep life before I ultimately gave up due to a lack of motivation. I just want to keep this, like a video log to myself, so I can look back and just sort of assess where I was. And just for those of you who are actually interested in the training side of stuff and not just food and just watching the vlogs for the fun of it. So yeah, really appreciate if anyone's actually made it this far. I very much appreciate you watching. And I will see you for upper B will be the next session, and that'll probably be in about a week from now. So thanks for watching, much love, goodbye.